Omies and Polones. Omi Polones, Polone Omies. Chavies, Beancoves, Renters, Remolds, Marianne's, Nancy's...
Jez, it's time for Double Ender.
Oh yes.
We want to bring together our two one-man shows to create a single evening of entertainment.
We should start by introducing ourselves.
This is Jez. Jez is a visual artist whose work has been seen all around the world, from New York to London, Berlin to Bury, and he's also an eminent scholar of Polari, the lost language of gay men. And that's actually where his show came from, when he was giving talks to art galleries and museums that became increasingly theatrical, to the point when he couldn't resist but create a show.
I couldn't stop myself. This is Val. Val is a fantastic playwright, and his work's been seen all over the country, and he recently won a Bruntwood Award for playwriting, and he's currently working on a new piece for television. His one-man show comes from the people he meets and the stories that they tell him, the stories that he finds out while he does his free walking tours of Manchester. The evening itself is going to be about telling stories. Stories that we both tell. Telling stories that think about culture in the face of change.
So, for example, on my walking tours, I've met the Uruguayan rugby team, Noel Gallagher, and various fetish weekends that come to Manchester for their away weekends.
My stories include a discussion of the Polari Bible, a free and frank discussion about cottaging under Piccadilly Gardens, and the noble art of sheeing, something you can't miss. Double Ender.
Why does our history, this history, matter? Why is it important that this seemingly insignificant camp, tiny bit of human endeavour deserves to be talked about or written about, remembered? For a very long time, our voices have gone unheard, so now we need to make sure they are recorded, preserved. The canon of Polari literature is, to say the least, limited. Polari, as we have seen, was a spoken and performed, not a written idiom. Perhaps the jewel in the crown of Polari literature is the Polari Bible, King James Version, obviously. And we are incredibly lucky to have here tonight the only, so far, extant version of that book with us.
In the beginning, Gloria created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was nantiform and void, and Munge was upon the eke of the deep. And the fairy of Gloria trod upon the eke of the aquas, and Gloria cackled, "Let there be sparkle."
That's the danger. You start to think, the whole world come to me. Me! I've met someone from Kazakhstan. I know people. Yeah, the Spanish, they're always late. The Japanese, always so polite. The Americans, useful audience, because they always laugh and gasp in the right spots. And you rely on a middle-aged Mancunian man, usually, but not always, called Dave, who knows everything and will be sure to let you know he really does know everything.
I had a dear friend called Peter, but most of the time we called him Daisy. Sister Daisy Chainsaw of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, to use her official title. Daisy sadly left us in August 2012, actually on the weekend of Manchester Pride. Selfish queen. So at the funeral, a week or so later, Sister Mary Virgin on the ridiculous, after a few sherries at the wake, we were eyeing up the floral tribute that spelled out Daisy, white chrysanthemums on a pink ribbon, kind of frou-frou border. It'd been in the back of the hearse earlier. We went over to speak to the widow. So it came to pass, a couple of days later, it was a Sunday. We met up to get frocked, i.e. get our habits on, and headed out to take Daisy for one last drink down Canal Street. Starting at the top end, the plan was to have one drink in every establishment along the street, pausing with the Daisy tribute at each stop. We passed the HIV/AIDS memorial and decided to have one little last drink sitting in the sunshine on the memorial. Somebody, I don't remember who, pulled one of the white flowers from the tribute and threw it into the canal, where it floated away. We joined in, and with our habits fluttering away in the late summer sunshine, flung all the flowers in the canal, where they gently floated off.
There's man one and man two, and they clearly love each other, and they want to see their city through new eyes. So they said. I'm wittering on like I do, can't help but notice they're scribbling notes, acoustic words, on an actual notepad. After the tour, Josh, would you like to come for a coffee with us? I'd anaesthetised with a bottle of gin the night before on account of my Farnworth house contracting a stubborn case of fleas. I wasn't keen for coffee. Josh, come for a coffee with us. The upstairs of a cramped, crowded Nero. Oh, thanks for the coffee, by the way. What do you two do? Only if you don't mind me asking, like. Oh, we're tax inspectors for HMRC. Oh, are you? Who are you inspecting? Mostly fish and chip shops, barbers, mostly places that work with cash. Oh, so you say go to a fish and chip shop on a Friday, work out their average Friday take-ins, and then you compare it with other Fridays and see if they're not declaring anything. That conversation was a bit like the tide at Morecambe. The tours were only a year deep. At that point, I'd not thought that seriously about them. It was just something to earn beer money on a hangover. Oh, no, don't worry, Josh. We want you to run a tour for us. It's a charity weekend. Yeah, the Manchester Rubbermen. We all get together once a year and, well, wear rubber. I'd have led a tour for them anyway, but the fact they were tax inspectors sealed the deal.
Now, for a finale to this evening's entertainment, we would like to proudly present probably the pièce de résistance, that's your actual French, of lyrical Polari. Bona by Lee Sutton, recorded in 1971, live at the Marine Commando Club, Paddington. Lee Sutton joined the RAF in World War II and posted to India, like many gay men, was involved in forces entertainment. Feel free to join in. Bona eek, you've got the campest little bona eek, and when you Vada me it leaves me weak. A bona eek, my heart starts to racket every time I see your packet. Bona eek, your bold Polari almost makes me spring a leak. I'd grant your every wish, I'd even grease my dish just to see your bona eek. You've got a tatty gaff and all your drag is naff, but I love your bona eek. What's more, your eye is odd and all your pods are cod, but I love your bona eek. Your lallies look like darts and you've got nanty carts, but I love your bona